Hello everyone, and welcome back to part 63 of Build HMS Victory. Okay, so if you joined me in part 62, which was actually nearly around about a month ago, I've been kind of working my way down the hull with these copper strips, and I've actually, like 2 or 3 days ago, I actually completed this side, and you can actually tell, when you're looking at this picture now, obviously you can tell the difference from where the planks, from where the copper tiles have been stood for a month to the ones that I put on 2 days ago. Yeah, so I quite like that they're naturally like tarnishing, and I quite like that. I don't want the really silver shiny effect. I don't really like that. I know you can oxidize it and you can make it obviously look green, but I'm not quite sure if I like that effect as well. So I think I might just leave it where it's it's oxidizing itself. It's looking very tarnished. Okay, so all I've really got left to do now is I've got five rows of copper tiles left on the port side, and I pretty much just carried on around about 10 more layers till I got to this level. When I started to hit the water line, I thought that'd be a good place to stop and kind of film this section so you can see me cutting all these tiles into the water line and on the stern, and obviously cutting into the water line into the bow. A few people saying like, what will these tiles stick like over time? So I'll just show you this on the bow, and you can actually see where I started to cut these tiles, obviously to the water line, where it actually peels off the paint. So yeah, they're incredibly sticky. So I'm really surprised myself just how good they are. Okay, so the orientation, I have my tile set up where they slightly overlap. So that means I always have to work from the bow back to the stern. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that clearly, but there's my indication mark from a water line. So all I really need to do in this first one is just kind of overlap it. And what I'm doing is I'm taking it 1 mil higher, so it's overlapping the last copper tile. And as I say, I'm just taking this fiberglass pencil like I've done before, and I really press it in. What you get is when you overlap the row before, it really makes the rivets stand out a lot more by just having that overlapping. And that's why I went with a 6 mil tile rather than a 5 mil that I could overlap by a mil. And then, like we've done before, we'll just work his way back to the stern. And all you really need to do is just pay a bit of attention to where you kind of overlap these joints on this one. This is the only one that ever kind of sometimes slightly are raised, but in fact in some ways, I'll show you on this camera, when you look down it looks quite nice because you can see that it looks like they're all individual tiles, so I do like that. Okay, so we made his way all the way back to the stern. I'm just going to try this on first before I peel the backing tape off. So yeah, we only actually need 4 strips on this one, so I can just cut off one of the extra ones. So as you can see, that's just slightly overlapping the water lines. So that's what you want, so then you can cut it obviously into size. Okay, so I'll add one more row off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll start to show you how to cut into these water lines. Okay, so I've just added a complete full row of tiles. So now I'm going to cut these first two lines that I just fitted. The way mine worked out, it actually worked out quite nicely. It starts off around about a thickness of around about 4mm, and then as it works its way into midships, it goes down to about 1mm, if that. So the first section, I can actually use this. I think it's actually a coffee stirrer. It's about 4mm, so but it's very, I mean, they're very, very flexible, very bendable. These, I quite like these. So I can kind of hold it in this position. Hold it with my finger and thumb. And obviously taking your craft knife, but you want to, this is actually a brand new razor sharp blade on it. You don't want to skimp on this section at all. You want a brand new blade. And then obviously you've got your thumb very close, so you just have to be very careful. Thank you, Alexa. And all you do is just very gently, I mean that blade's pretty much touching my thumb, so be very careful. And then just score that copper tape. And just take your tweezers, and you can kind of pull it off. That's what I was saying about it. Obviously, it's pulling the paint off, which is not an issue because all I did on this section is kind of cut it back in with a little bit of flat black. Okay, so we're going to work his way to the stern, and pretty much like we did before, is I can just take this coffee stirrer. I mean, we use all the advanced equipment in shipbuilding, and you can see where my well, you can't. Let me take. It's better. You can see now. Yeah, so I'm taking the coffee stirrer, resting it on this this water line. So again, it's holding it between a finger and a thumb, very gently. Just score it. And usually, once you've scored a line, it's pretty much got its own line, so that you can kind of. Because I'm actually left-handed, so I mean, if you notice, I cut that with my right hand. I mean, I'm ambidextrous, but it's still I'm a lot better with my left hand. We'll just peel that back. And same again, once it's complete, like I say, we need 3 more rows, then I'll just come back in and just cut all this back in with some black. Okay, so I'll add 2 more rows off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll just finish off this final strip right on the water line. Okay, so I've added 2 more rows of tiles, and this has pretty much brought me where I just need to do 1 left over for the water line. So on this one, I'm kind of like laying it down, but also keeping this further edge pretty much following the line of the water line. It's very hard for you to see because it's a very faint pencil line, but yeah, I'm kind of taking this bottom layer and just tracing it all the way along this line. Okay, so pretty much all I've got left to do now is just cut in the final 2 sections of the waterline. Okay, so now on this section I've actually put the wood strip above the line because I need to angle it down. Just press the final press in. Yeah. When it's turned the right way around, it might need a slight bit of adjustment, but that's okay. Okay, so pretty much all I've got left to do now is just going to take some singles and just fill in the rest of the keel section. Okay, so after finishing off all the singles right on the front at the keel and the bow, and then coming all the way across with a single row of copper strip all the way across the keel, all I've got left now to do is just put a strip along this stern section, and the whole entire hull will be copper stripped. Okay, so when I'm some of the sections of the build where it's just very repetitive or you're watching the same thing, I tend to put a little bit of a backing track on. And I know it's not everybody's choice music line, but obviously it's kind of like what I like to listen to. I'm very much a big fan of obviously country. When I was a young lad in the 80s, we used to go to quite a lot of country and western meetings, and obviously used to go down to local clubs and those used to have the country and western singers on. And it's just kind of what I grew up with, and it's kind of what I enjoy, and I kind of like listening to some country just to kind of relax. Like I say, I know it's nobody's choice, but I just kind of get a little bit of insight of what I like to listen to. Okay, so now the hull is pretty much all completely finished off. Probably just a little bit of adjustment here and there. I'm just going to cut in these lines again, just for a little bit of the Hamilton paints, just using the dull black. Give it a bit of a shake. Okay, we don't need to mask this up because we've actually layered this over the hull. We've actually leaved this off like a bit of like a cut line. This is about 0.05 mil thick. So as long as you've got a nice steady hand, you should be able to just cut in under the copper tiles. Okay, so if you've been watching my channel for this last year, or you're new subscriber to me, I've just recently set up a Patreon channel, and I did that mainly just to kind of help support me really, because when I kind of started this channel, I didn't actually realise just how much you kind of like you kind of have to spend just to keep these channels going. And also, obviously, if you become a patron, it kind of, I mean, I use it as like a platform for me to get some feedback. When I was building the US Texas, I kind of put some trial videos out there. I've only got a small Patreon following at the minute, but I kind of put it out there first, so then I can get some feedback from obviously Patreon. Because if you're a patron, it kind of means you're a fan. So it means it means that you tend to watch all my videos. You're not kind of the person who clicks on the link and thinks, "Oh, this is not for me." If you're a patron, you're already kind of invested into the channel. And I also use it for like obviously when I'm adding a thumbnail, I'll put a thumbnail on and say, "Oh, what do you think to this?" Like so, yeah. So if you decide to become a patron, you kind of get a little bit more insight into the background workings of the channel, and you get to have a lot more feedback yourself. So if it's something you're interested in, obviously just becoming a patron and supporting the channel, there's actually a link in the description of this video. Nice, I'm all the way to the bow now. I'm just going to paint in. Cut in this new fresh line. Try not to get my head in the way. Well, I've said before, when I always kind of shake these bottles up full of paint, you tend to get like a little bit of resin in this top of the cap, and I tend just to pick up all the paint out of that section. Okay, we'll just leave that 10 minutes and we'll come back and kind of wrap this video up. Okay, so pretty much wraps today's video up for actually the building process. And yeah, like I say, I mean, I hope you agree that it looks 100 times better. And actually, the cost came in at just two full sheets of that copper tape. So it cost me around £20, which is around about $28 US. So it means it's a fraction of the cost. Yeah, I mean, and for myself, I mean, like say, you can't see, you can only see through the computer screen. But if you saw it up close, I mean, I've not actually ever copied one in actually the little individual copper tile, so I can't really compare it. But as for a model goes, and for you, I mean, you've got to ask yourself this question: I mean, what you're going to be happy with. And for me, I'm happy with this. I'm happy how it looks. I'm happy how it's turned out. I'm happy with the cost. I'm happy with the process. It wasn't too stressful. I mean, one of the hardest parts was actually the making the copper strips. And I mean, I've got to actually thank my girlfriend for part of that, because she sat one evening and kind of just doubled up all the copper tape for me. So I mean, so it's just a help. So anyway, before I go, I just want to just say a little bit of a big thank you to everybody who watches my videos. I'm like I say, this last 3 or 4 months, I've added another 500-600 subscribers, and I don't think I thank you enough, and I don't think I tell you how much actually people watching my channel and the people who comment every week. I mean, you know who you are. You comment on every single video, so it means a lot to me, because about a month ago I wasn't quite feeling myself. I wasn't quite enjoying making the videos as much as I was. I started, concentrating too much of the comments, and I was spending too much time looking at the analytics of the YouTube, and I was like, oh, why is this video doing well, or why is this video not doing well? And I kind of stopped enjoying making the videos quite so much. But yeah, I had a little bit of break from HMS Victory. I've had about a month off since the last time I did a video, and I came back, and I really enjoyed the process again. So yeah, so like I say, I've set up this Patreon account. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon, that'd be fantastic. If you don't want to, just watch the videos. It's everything people do, whether they comment, they like the videos, they watch the videos, become a patron. It all supports me. So anyway, I've been rambling too long. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time.